What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is June 24th of 2020. Well, folks, I hope you are having a fantastic day wherever you are. And in today's video, we're not only going to be talking about altcoins continuing to steal the stage here as they've broken through a key level of resistance that hasn't been tested since the beginning of 2020. But outside of that as well, we've got more competition and excitement coming into the DeFi space as a new DeFi protocol launches its governance token, stealing the stage from Compound in the short term. And outside of that as well, institutions taking on an overwhelmingly positive tone to implementing or looking towards implementing cryptocurrency. So we're going to be talking about all this and more right after our quick sponsor. And our sponsor for today's episode is Amatin. Now, for those of you who are hearing about them for the first time, Amatin is a well-known and respected company based out of Japan that leads the way in providing a secondary market for gift cards from a variety of brands. So if you have a gift card that you knew you weren't going to use, you could sell it on the Amatin market and be able to get a good amount of cash for it. And that's the really cool thing about Amatin and their new move towards pushing blockchain technology and smart contracts into their traditional business model and further decentralizing the current system that they've already built. And an industry that they're well versed in. And the great thing about it is that they not only have a really solid white paper that you can read through and learn a little bit about the company, but along with that as well, the team has a ton of experience working in this industry already. So you can already see that they have a team of individuals who have been working at the previous company that are going to be leading the way and fixing a lot of the key issues that have persisted in the industry that they've already worked in. There's no IEO, no ICO. It's all basically a direct token listing on exchange through BitThumb. So I recommend you guys check them out if you're interested in learning a little bit more about what they're doing. Alrighty, everyone, so let's go ahead and start by taking a quick look across the board for the market. As we can see here, over the last 24 hours, the vast majority of cryptocurrencies are in the red, following a sharp dip here in Bitcoin's price here over the last 24 hours. However, I want to point out a few key things that are really important to take in here, because I think most people, again, will broadly just look at the general trend of the market. But there's actually a lot of interesting things going on under the surface, and if you're not watching it, it's very easy to miss it. So the key thing here that you can just notice right off the bat if we take a look at the top 5 is that there's actually a few decent cryptos here that are actually dropping at a lower rate than Bitcoin. So for example, we have Ethereum here down only 0.87% compared to Bitcoin, which is down nearly almost 2%. It's down to 1.8%. The same goes here with Bitcoin Cash. Now, why do I point this out, and why do I predominantly want to talk about Ethereum here and its lack of decline here, right? The reason why that lack of decline is important to note is it's starting to play and have heavy weight when it comes to market dominance. For the first time since back here in February, we have broken past the line of resistance here that's been holding down altcoin dominance for the last few months. And now here in June, months later, right, we're at a point now where we're starting to clearly break out of this. And now we're looking to test towards the even longer term line of resistance that's been held up for a very long period of time. So just again, to put this in perspective here, we can see we broke out past this descending channel here. And now it's a matter of whether or not we can get above this line here, right? So it could be that we come up, hit resistance here, kind of wane in for a little bit, and then we finally break out months later, sometime into the late summer, maybe into the fall or winter. Who really knows, right? This wedge goes on all the way up until October from the current support and resistance ranges that we have right now. And it could be that we even break it above here, but we still have to come back down, hold support in it, and before we really start making that next leg up. But all in all, right, again, the key thing I'm taking away here is that we've been on a consecutive trend of higher lows here for altcoin dominance. And again, looking like we've got a chance to possibly break out on that longer term line of resistance. That's what I'm looking for. And you can see here again, Ethereum is making this clearer than any other crypto, right? Doesn't matter how you really want to draw the trend line here. You can draw it from the top of the wicks, doesn't matter, right? Generally speaking, throughout these lower highs here, we finally got above, set a consistent high here, built support on resistance, and now we're starting to lead up. And you can see here, so we're taking a look at Binance. Volume is pretty decent here. Definitely not to the kind of high degree that we want to see, but you got it across a lot of different exchanges, and you got a lot of money as well trading on leverage platforms in this case. So it's not going to be showing on a lot of the clear spot markets that we're taking a look at. But again, this is not just true for Ethereum. We've got a ton of different altcoins. Rin, one of our top picks, has now more than doubled since we talked about it in the newsletter and put it as one of our top 3 picks here on the dip after mainnet. Crazy stuff. Back up towards 17, basically to new all-time highs here compared to Bitcoin. So again, I'd say a lot of people have been asking me, what would be the price target here that I would look for? Usually I don't like to use, like, especially these kind of wider term time frames. I usually don't like to do these kind of lines because they're usually very difficult to reach. But Ren could easily reach up here towards 2100 sats. It's probably going to do so. It's probably going to line up here towards this level. Again, it's not financial advice, but it's just one area that I'm watching for personally in order to take maybe a first partial share of profits, take a look for a pullback, and then re-enter. But all in all, guys, I've been holding my Ren for some time, and I if anything, I wish I would have had a larger position in and stuff. I've got a few different kind of positions throughout the DeFi space. Ren is one that I've been confident in. I don't know why I haven't allocated a massive portion of my portfolio towards it. So I'd say it's one of my top 10 altcoin positions, but not the largest one by far. All in all, though, really good to see this. Tomo is another one that I added a while back, probably back here, I think in like mid-June. And again, it's been a generally neutral position, but this looks, again, like it's starting to set up for a breakout. And we've seen in the past here when this thing starts to move, it really starts to move. KNC, still holding up strong here, right? Still holding up in this kind of general channel up here, looking like it might be building either what we'll be seeing as kind of, originally what it would have been seen as probably like a bull flag, but really I'd say this is more of an ascending triangle. You've got the rising lows, you've got a consistent resistance range, right? This is what we want to hope to see here, a continuation, just like we've been seeing on Lend BTC or Aave, that kind of continuation of the vertical trend here, cusping up here from the lows and getting back up and testing towards some of these resistance ranges. We're far ways away. We're taking a look at the logarithmic chart here, guys. Right? If you take off the log, it shows just how much we still have to go here. But again, decent ways to get there. Kava as well. Still holding up towards those kind of relative highs. Again, I bought a position up into this range here, thinking this is going to probably continue riding up. And Chainlink as well, looking like not only on its USD terms that it's going to be breaking out to all-time highs. I don't know if it actually did right away. I always look at BTC pairs, but I can check here to see if we broke out to all-time highs yet. But I know on Bitcoin terms, yeah. So we're riding up right towards that consistent resistance range. We'll see if it can happen. We'll be keeping a sharp eye on this. Possibly third time's a charm here. We have the first attempt, second attempt over here, and third attempt here. Who knows? We'll see. But again, I like how it's looking on the Bitcoin chart. And mainly, again, as you can see here, building into almost kind of a set of higher lows here that are consistent with a line of support and a general resistance range here around the upper 50,000 Satoshi or the lower 50,000 Satoshi range. Okay? So again, looking nice here, nice trend. Going on here though, right? We've got some news here. Big piece of news that people talked about yesterday, and I wanted to take some time to think about talking about it, was in regards to the rumors that PayPal is going to start selling cryptocurrencies directly to people through the app, whether it be through their desktop or through, for example, the mobile app, which a lot of people use for payment processing or making payments to people. It's a very good question. Right, that whether or not PayPal would do this. On a surface level, it makes a lot of sense because, as some people kind of pointed out on Twitter, Jack Dorsey from the Cash App is basically, or not only the founder of Twitter as well, he did Square, Cash App, and Twitter. But the key thing that a lot of people brought up is they kind of, forced PayPal and a lot of other apps to basically, enter into the arena of crypto, to take the risk and actually get involved in the cryptocurrency industry and start offering Bitcoin purchases, because this has actually become a huge revenue stream for Cash App's business model. And it's a huge thing for a lot of different businesses, being able to offer digital assets where, for example, and I don't know what the fee structure is for Cash App or what PayPal would charge, but a lot of these apps charge ridiculous fees, right? They're basically able to charge it because people don't usually question it, right? But again, I think more than anything that this is going to be a big business opportunity for PayPal and a lot of other payment processors. More than anything, guys, as much as I'm building my own kind of fintech app, I say hats off. Enter into the race. I'm excited to see how people react to it and get more people involved in cryptocurrencies and owning digital assets. I think it's great. But the thing is that whereas PayPal is probably going to charge a pretty high fee, similar to a lot of mainstream applications out there, similar to Coinbase, a lot of the major apps, we charge about 1/3 of the fees that Coinbase charges for cryptocurrency trades. So again, if you're looking to get exposure to cryptocurrencies, hopefully you'll be keeping an eye out on the fees there. I don't mean to do a shameless promotion, but again, fees do matter at the end of the day. It will hinder your position in the long term. So again, I think this is good news. The thing I'm looking for here more than anything is whether or not PayPal is actually going to take this further than just what Cash App has done, which is just buying Bitcoin. I'm curious if they have other plans in mind, if they have plans for other cryptocurrencies, if they have plans for possibly exploring crypto stablecoin payment solutions. Things like that seem really interesting to me. But I have a feeling PayPal's not doing that because they're going to possibly, just like any other payment processor, try to keep their old archaic model in place. And that's the same old archaic framework that charges ridiculous fees and makes billions of dollars at the end of the year. Right? So, anyways, just something to keep in mind. DeFi boom. Wanted to talk a little bit about the continuation and the craze of DeFi. I have no doubt at the end of the day, guys, it is very clear that DeFi is having a hint of speculation right now. And the current token incentive model in regards to these DeFi tokens is driving some interesting side effects throughout crypto as a whole. But we can see that Balancer, one of the new DeFi protocols that I've been watching for the last couple of weeks, has recently launched its governance token and has now seen over 235% price spike here since the launch of it. Now I want to go ahead and talk a little bit about it here. You can see here, this is the Balancer chart going down here from around single digit range, around $8 to $5, or excuse me, $8 to like $6, all the way up to the upper 20 range, coming back, cooling down a bit, and now it's back up to I think about $20 last time I checked. And not only can you learn about some details about this through their Medium, they actually talk a little bit about the actual token launch in regards to this. So again, this is another governance token within the DeFi space. So if you're interested in what the Balancer protocol offers, you can read into the actual token. But just to kind of summarize what Balancer is here real quick, it's a kind of mixture of a few different things. So it's not only a non-custodial portfolio manager, so it's a way where you can get quick distributed exposure to a variety of ERC20 tokens and different assets, right? But outside of that as well, it's a liquidity provider and a price sensor. So in this case, you're also having an incentive in this case, again, through similar token mechanisms, similar to what we've seen with Compound. Certain mechanisms that are built in to the governance system and also the token distribution mechanism that incentivizes providing liquidity and basically provides an ability for people to create pools. And also, when I'm a user, for example, and I want to, per se, swap from one currency to another, right? I'll just go ahead, just type some example here. Let's say, for example, I have 5,000 USDC, right? You have to give it a second. Sometimes it takes a couple seconds. I know it's still in beta here. Let's see if I can get it here. There we go. That's a good example. So you can see here that I wanted to put in 3,000 USDC and I want to receive ETH for this, right? So the general gist is that you're able to figure out from a variety of pools here, where's the best place to pull capital from in this case? Where can I get the best rate, right? And it will adjust over time. And you can see different levels of price slippage here that you can expect here over time. Now again, it's going to become more detailed over time. This is again how you view the different pools here, and it will change. But what I'm really interested in here, and I think this is what's going to make DEXs work 100 times more than what they're currently working like, is to see on one of these platforms the ability for me to go from USDC, or sorry, let's say for example, I've got an altcoin position, right? For a lot of larger scale traders in this case, you're going to want the ability to be able to liquidate into multiple different stablecoins. There's plenty of stablecoin liquidity indexes, but the ability for me to do a multi-coin swap to go from USD or an altcoin position, or maybe ETH for example, right? Let's say we flip this, right? To go from ETH to a mixture of USDC, DAI, TrueUSD, Paxos, whatever it may be. I think that would be really fascinating to see. Or maybe back from ETH to a mixture of altcoin positions. Not just one altcoin, but multiple altcoin positions to really tap into that deep liquidity. And if you can do that, I think that that's going to be really exciting. And I think Balancer and a few other protocols are exploring that. But I just thought I would toss that out there for those out there in the DeFi space to work towards building something and building as best as possible. That's the cool thing about DeFi. There's constant competition. Now, if you want to learn a little bit about the token, again, guys, the valuation coming out pretty high. This is already one of the top 5 DeFi tokens. Not only is the circulating supply 123 million, but the overall diluted market cap supply, considering the team's tokens and the tokens that have still yet to come out into fruition yet, is over 700 million, right? So again, be careful about speculating on it. Read into the protocol, guys. Learn about it and see if it feels like it's something that you want to take a risk on in this case, or get some exposure to. I know Balancer, alongside Comp, and all these governance tokens, we're going to be making them available inside Digifox here in the next coming days. So again, this Friday we're going to have Comp token available, Balancer token. If you're interested in that, definitely definitely check out Digifox. You can go to our mobile app and stuff and check it out. But anyways, I want to go ahead here and talk a little bit about what's been going on in Eastern Europe, because again, out of all regions in the world, I understand a lot of people talk about Korea, a lot of people talk about obviously the mining activities going on in China, and a lot of the actual positive developments that, as we just talked about earlier, possibly with PayPal and a few other companies here in the United States. Things are going quite well in the world of crypto. German banks in Europe starting to take on to managing crypto deposits. A lot of positive things. But Eastern Europe is kind of an untouched and I think untapped category when it comes to the kind of buzz around crypto, because I think there's actually a lot going on in Eastern Europe. When you talk about a lot of the different countries that make up Eastern Europe, and a lot of the countries as well being eager over the last few decades to be at the forefront of a lot of new technological revolutions. So here's a good kind of like summary here in regards to just kind of a quick map here from Belarus to Georgia to the Czech Republic to Russia, Bulgaria, Hungary, Slovakia, Poland, Moldova, and Ukraine. So we can see that there are, for example, cryptocurrencies in general and also mining activities here. We can see that the plus sign equals legal. So in Belarus, you have, again, crypto being fully legal. Some areas like Russia, Moldova, and Ukraine not being legal. And then in other areas being unregulated, still untouched in this case, right? Outside of that as well, for mining is actually made legal specifically in 3 areas. It's unregulated in a few decent regions as well. So the biggest picture here that I take away from this, just to keep things short, is to see very clearly that at the end of the day right now, the region is definitely still just kind of letting it do its thing. So in Georgia, massive mining pools here, right? Again, it's very important to see, for example, companies like Bitfury and a lot of other major players here starting to move into a lot of Eastern European countries, and they can do so for power reasons. Some of them as well have manufacturing operations in some of these countries. But again, a lot of different things here. The Czech Republic pioneering Bitcoin regulations, starting to actually build a framework around understanding Bitcoin as an asset. You can see here as well, Bulgaria, with a country that has over $2 billion worth of Bitcoin that they basically had taken in a raid a long time ago. So again, they compensated over 213,000 Bitcoin. Nice if you can get it. Slovakia as well starting to monitor cryptocurrency transactions. Poland looking forward towards actually pushing the boundaries for cryptocurrencies and finance. And again, there's a lot of actually exchanges out there that allow swapping to the Polish currency. So again, very, very interesting stuff. And again, you can read through this and actually read some of the details here. There's a lot of different countries that are starting to take on a more positive note here, but a lot of general innovation going on in the mining space and cryptocurrency exchanges. And what's nice is that the regulators are just kind of letting it happen. They're letting the industry kind of explore itself. There's really not any major issues in this case for these regions. It's really, at the end of the day, letting this space continue to flourish and giving a potential for these Eastern European countries, again, especially the ones moving out of the ex-USSR back just a couple of decades ago, exploring these new industries. This is why Estonia, that founded, the company Skype was founded in Estonia. You've got a lot of different companies like Lithuania that I've been to. They're absolutely phenomenal places, and they're so eager for change. And this also speaks to a broader trend here, not just in Eastern Europe, but also throughout the U.S. and European financial system. Over 80% of hundreds of companies that were surveyed about digital assets see that the digital asset trend is going to be a portion of people's portfolio, that it's something they take a positive tone to. So reading into the details here, over 800 institutional investors were asked whether or not they showed strong signs of cryptocurrency adoption, particularly for Bitcoin. And over 80% of institutions said they'd find cryptocurrency appealing, and 60% believe cryptocurrencies have a place in their own portfolios. This is really fascinating stuff, guys. Talking about the longer term trend here, the shift just in the last few years of how digital assets have gone from this kind of speculative niche asset class to something that people are actually getting excited about and will likely become mainstream when we get back above that 20K level for Bitcoin. As we saw in the previous rally, when Bitcoin got back above its all-time highs, that's when I got in and when many other people started to get in and when the retail wave really kicked in. But this time, it's not only going to be a retail wave, it's most definitely going to be both a retail and institutional wave. And when I say retail, I'm talking about everyday people. But when I talk about institutions, I'm talking about high net worth clients, hedge funds, investment bankers, all kinds of different people who are going to be stepping in, pension funds, all kinds of trillion-dollar forms of liquidity possibly injecting into this market. And that's what's really exciting to me personally. Okay, so if you're interested in this, again, and if you're in the European region, again, speaking to the news that we talked about here, definitely check out Bitpanda Pro. They're a great exchange for those of you who are in the European region. There's a lot going on in Europe, and I think, again, if you're looking for a platform that can get you not only exposure to cryptocurrencies, but also exposure to digital assets for commodities such as gold, silver, and palladium, you can take a look at Bitpanda Pro. We've got a lot of different services there. But I'm really excited to see this positive trend here for institutional interest. And I think it's going to continue to grow and grow as we start to see more and more discussion of DeFi in the long term. And as we start to see, again, cryptocurrencies, especially altcoins, start to take a little bit more interest as enterprise blockchain becomes the new norm, as well as DeFi. These are the trending topics that are starting to dominate the playing field here, guys. And even though crypto markets, for the most part, have been relatively stagnant here for the last month and a half, if you've been in the right place, if you've been keeping up with what's going on, markets aren't so stagnant. In fact, they're at their highest pace that they've been in years in the crypto space, since all the way back in 2016. We're starting the early stage parts of the next cycle, and I'm so happy to be here with you guys during this process. All right, so that's it for the video, guys. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you're all having a fantastic day wherever you are, and I'll see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.